Thank you, John, and thanks, Dan. On the saxophone, that was Dan Perrino. I'm really pleased to have Dan say what he did, because up until then I didn't realize that I was the informational part of the program. I am not the entertainment part of the program, as you are finding out. In order to better understand the role that music played during the war years, we need to know something about what life was like in the United States at that time. In 1938, you could purchase a new Plymouth 5-passenger Road King for $685. In 1938, while Hitler's army was marching into Austria, the United States was just beginning to come out of the Great Depression. Those who lost their jobs didn't think it was very great, but that's what somebody decided to call it. The unemployment rate was going down. More people were going back to work, and the increased family income made it possible to pay for things other than just food and clothing. Well, things like social activities, going to movies and parties and the theater and baseball games, and going out and dancing. According to some statistics at that time, the two most popular recreational activities for both the adult and the young adult population were movies and dancing. And when one went dancing, you heard the music being played by the big bands, live or on recordings.
Just so that you all know what the sound of a big band is, you're going to hear two very, very short examples. The first being a swing band, Benny Goodman. The second, a sweet band, just almost for dancing exclusively, Sammy Kaye.
Which one did you like better?
Did you ever play with them?
The loudspeaker sounds like it's from the Civil War.
It's pretty mellow. This was the time that the big bands were indeed flourishing. And of course, the big band movement was the focus for dancing. Whether in a fancy ballroom, a neighborhood dance hall, a restaurant, a hamburger stand, in your own living room, in your basement. All one needed was music, live or recorded, and some space to dance. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and we had street dances. During World War II, we would block off a street and have a dance in the street. If you couldn't do that, we blocked off the alley, we danced in the alley, and we called it a rally, an alley rally. It was indeed time that the radio was entertainment center, your means of knowing what was taking place in the world, your recreational outlet, radio programs with the top stars, Jack Benny, George Burns and Gracie Allen, Bing Crosby, mysteries like The Shadow, The Inner Sanctum, and of course, children's shows like Little Orphan Annie. And live broadcasts of big bands playing the famous dance halls across the country, the Aragon in Chicago, the Palomar in Los Angeles, and the Meadowbrook in New Jersey. It was time when records and recordings were extremely popular. Practically every home had a radio, and many had a Victrola or record player. How many, raise your hand, remember a Victrola? Oh, all right. Crank those things. And people were proud to show you their record collection. And most every restaurant or hamburger stand had a jukebox. One of radio's most popular Saturday night shows was Your Hit Parade. And believe it or not, it was sponsored by Lucky Strike cigarettes. It was the songs of the distinctive sounds of the big bands that made this music popular and long-lasting. Dancing was so popular that many ballrooms stayed open 7 days per week. Dina?
came from a Broadway show called Right This Way, words and music by Irving Kahler and Sammy Fain. The show was not very successful, but one of those songs became an all-time favorite, especially by the men and women in service in Great Britain. It was also recorded by many of the very top hot singers of the day. It remained #1 in the hit parade for 10 consecutive weeks. Here is the lovely I'll Be Seeing You. Hope this brings back memories. I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, those chestnut trees, my wishing well, and I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. To me, you'll always be that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you. Woody, would you please play some? Thank you. Isn't that a lovely song? How lovely was that? I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's so light and gay. To me, you'll always be that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you. Thank you. Woody Woodward, DJ, take a bow. Jeff, wonderful trio.